NCTV45, The Train, anytime on your time.
This program was provided through funding from Cedars Restaurant in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. A special thanks to Cedars, featuring Middle Eastern, Italian, and American cuisine.
To the Cedar Sports Corner, everybody. I'm Alex Laverson.
Rally, sons of Notre Dame, sing a glory and sound of fame.
I don't know. I think most fans in Newcastle are excited about the Pitt Panthers clinching the ACC Coastal. And
yeah, that's what they're excited about.
Well, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. You have to understand. I mean, this
Let
is
me
as good
check
as it
my
gets
glasses.
Angela, this is as good as it gets for Pitt fans. So it might not be a big deal for a big-time prestigious school like Notre Dame, but for a school like Pitt, who has had, one outright conference championship since 2004 and a share of a Big East championship in 2010, this is a big deal. And Angela, I'm thrilled. I mean, you even told me that they should be fine winning the Coastal.
Here's what I think. I say the Pinstripe Bowl, Pitt-Penn State rematch.
You know what? Honestly, I think this Pitt team could give Penn State a run for the money.
I think this Pitt team could run Mr. Franklin out of town.
Well, speaking of Franklin being in a different town...
And I don't mean Ben either.
Well, I'll tell you what. James Franklin's already being mentioned for the USC job.
A dream come true at Notre Dame.
Well, you know what? He doesn't really have the best record against his top rivals and top-ranked teams, so I think Notre Dame fans would be happy about that. But Angelo, what does it mean for Notre Dame and Notre Dame fans to be on the cusp of a Final Four championship appearance? Especially after their last title game appearance in 2012 when they got steamrolled by Alabama.
Well, now, let's go to the videotape here. When you take a look at the Notre Dame-Alabama series, Notre Dame leads the series.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so they beat us once. They've only won 2 games. Alabama has only beaten Notre Dame twice. Parsegian has beaten the Bear 3-4 times. So what you have is you have somebody that is just hanging on one game, and I don't buy it.
Well, Angela, this is a different Alabama team, obviously. This is not the Alabamas of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or even early 2000s. This is superpower Alabama. And do you really think they're a match for the
no way. This is no records Alabama. This is what kind of scholastic thing do you have? Okay, now here's what you've got. You've got Notre Dame and Alabama, and you've got Notre Dame leading the series. Okay,
that means nothing.
Notre Dame has 5 wins to Alabama's 2.
Hey, Angela,
they only won the last time. That would be like saying the last Pitt-Penn State game means everything for the entire series.
Yeah, but this is obviously a different Alabama. This is arguably,
They were supposed to be good then. They were ranked number 1, and Notre Dame beat them.
man, I don't know. This Alabama team is a superpower, though. I mean, listen, I'm rooting for Notre Dame. Don't get me wrong, but like, man, look, we're already jumping ahead. For all we know, Notre Dame could be upset by USC next week. But
Meatballs could fly. You know, pasta was the favorite dish of the American Indians.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
I'm saying Clemson loses to Pitt.
Really?
Alabama's going to have to beat. Start and think about this. They have to beat Auburn, Georgia, and then practically Notre Dame.
You think I'm not even focused on that? You think Clemson is going to lose to Pitt again?
Yes.
I mean, I know Pitt beat them a couple years ago, but lightning doesn't strike twice the same place.
Oh yeah, it does.
You think so? Look, I hope they do. Like I said,
Okay, so even if it doesn't, Notre Dame beats Clemson. Can Alabama beat Auburn, Georgia, and Notre Dame? Do you realize they haven't played 3 of those type of teams ever in the history of Alabama, even before they became a state?
Well, and yeah, that is a valid criticism, one that you hear.
I mean, they were playing the Citadel. Citadel kicked the field goal, went ahead. Right away, this came in from the state of Alabama. You jumped off sides. Nobody moved.
Well, that's a valid criticism, and that's something people who are anti-SEC, especially anti-Alabama, have been saying for a while, that the SEC is top-heavy, and these top schools don't necessarily face the.
They have a weaker schedule than the Penn State and Indy Lions.
Oh man, and for you to say that, that's something.
Yeah.
And
at least Penn State played Union.
What does Notre Dame have to do to make sure they don't get beat by USC?
They have to call Lou Holtz, and Lou's going to tell them what's important now. Study, pass your finals, get done, go home, have Christmas with your family. Nothing's more important than having Christmas with your family. Have Christmas with your family. Get back to school. When you get back to school, study the game plan. Go over the game plan night and day. Make sure you know it. And then just execute. Don't get nervous. Just execute. You know, if you get and clench your fist real tight, and then you go to try and pick up a glass of water, you'll drop it because you'll be so tight you won't be able to do anything. Notre Dame has to be loose, play their game, and remember that Alabama wears the same colors as Rutgers. Now we better go to a break.
We definitely should go to a break, because I think you probably upset a couple Penn State fans by saying that.
Union felt good about it.
Well, listen, we're going to take a break. I do want to talk a little bit more about Pitt when we come back. I'll let you have your segment about Notre Dame, then I get mine with Pitt. And when we do that, I'm sure we'll have some interesting counter points to make. But now a word from our sponsors.
This program furnished by the MAD Unit, Mobile Auto Detailing. See Michael Sad at themadunit.com.
Holy snowman, it's the Turf Bar, home of great sandwiches, appetizers, tacos, you name it, they have it at the Turf Bar. It's just the right food. You'll enjoy those special drinks. They're there too. And get that nice cold beverage, relax, enjoy the Turf Bar. If you ain't there, you should be. Hello, friends. Pinella Brothers, 1701 Hamilton Street, provided funding for this program. Great food and drink, Pinella Brothers. Congratulations there on your brownies, just as I called.
I do not care at all about Cleveland sports teams right
You
now.
just wore your Browns.
Is this a Steelers hat or is this a Browns hat?
I don't know. You don't have it on. That's in protest because that's what all Browns people do.
No, I
They
thought
put
our
it in
viewers would just want to see my beautiful bald head. But
Now
anyway,
listen, I got to tell you this: 5-5, 5-5, Bungles and Ravens. Here the Brownies are with a chance to move into second place and get the wild card.
You know, Ed, I gotta give credit where credit is due. You have been pretty solid on predictions since football season started, both the college and the NFL. You have been doing pretty well with that. I'll give you that. But again, still, look, if I'm a Cleveland fan, I'm more optimistic about the play of Baker Mayfield than anything, because it's just kind of an indication for their future. They haven't had they haven't had a solid quarterback at least since they came back in 1999 as the new Browns. But, you know, they do have to obviously focus on the now. So if they could find a way to get into the wild card, wouldn't that be something, especially after getting rid of their head coach and offensive coordinator? So, listen, yeah, I am rooting for them. I'm not passionately rooting for them like I am the Steelers. But I do, it's good for the Steelers rivalry if the Browns are competitive. It really is. And I think it's good for football. And
LeBron James.
Oh man. Already Lakers and Cavs are playing. Yeah. I think it's tonight or tomorrow night. They're playing tonight pretty soon. They're playing pretty soon. And if you go on social media, well, right now those are the Cleveland fans. Right now the Cleveland fans are begging for LeBron to come back again. Honestly, I'm kind of sick of it. I'm just kind of over it all, honestly.
You can go to Cleveland, but don't drink the water.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd like to see him go back to Cleveland, but, I just don't care. I'm so over it all. And, honestly, it's football season. And, Angelo, I watched that Steelers-Jaguars game on Sunday. What an awful, ugly, putrid game. And be honest, I think probably everyone who's a Steeler fan, thought this was going to be another typical Mike Tomlin loss to a below 500 team. But it didn't happen. Listen, if they can come back and rally and win that type of game, and they can come back and rally against the worst performance, not just of the season, man, as far as I can remember, and win that, they could do a lot of great things. And although I thought the play calling was still kind of weird, I mean, I still would have just powered it in with James Conner, at the goal line. But, they're trying to get cute with, these shotgun formations and stuff. I mean, they won, so ultimately it's hard for me to kind of criticize.
A win is a win.
No, oh, yeah, listen, a win is a win, But, man, what a terrible performance by Ben. What a terrible performance. But, to his credit,
he scored
the game-winning touchdown right after potentially throwing, the interception that looked like it cost him the game. But, man, I think that game took years off my life.
Okay, now, this week coming up, about a week, 10 days away, the Duquesne Dukes and the Pitt Panthers get together.
And I'll tell you what did I say last show? It'd be good for both schools if both of them are winners. If both of them are winners, it's good for the city of Pittsburgh for basketball. And Pittsburgh's obviously not known to be a basketball town, but it can be. We saw what Pitt, the attendance Pitt used to bring in when they were good in the Big East. Right now, they're undefeated. They just had a great win against St. Louis not that long ago, I think a couple hours ago, and I know a couple people would be like, St. Louis, who cares? But St. Louis has picked to win the division. So that's a nice overall out-of-conference win for a first-year head coach with his new young players. So this is a game that Kevin Stallings' teams would have lost. But I'm not rooting for Duquesne against Pitt. But in general, I'm rooting for Duquesne basketball to do really well.
Now, when Duquesne beats Pitt, what are you going to say?
I'd give credit where credit's due.
I mean, this is the year. I could see the Dukes making that move and having a good Atlantic 10 year.
Hey,
They just came off they lost to Notre Dame, but it was a 10-point loss. That's one of those ones where it's tied with 4 minutes to go, and you just didn't hit shots.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think the Dukes make the tournament.
I hope they do.
You just hope it. Do you have a prediction?
I don't follow Duquesne basketball the way you do. So what
do
am I
you
going to say?
follow the Pitt Panthers? Will they make the tournament?
My gut says no, but if they can somehow finish with around 20 wins, I'll be happy. Honestly, I will. Because this is a first-year head coach, and, that'd do a lot for recruiting. Do I think they make the tournament? No. Do I think it's such a long shot that they won't make the tournament? I don't think it's necessarily a long shot. That's just my gut feeling. Pitt basketball it's back on the rise. Just with Pitt football. But, and honestly, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, if you're a Pittsburgh football fan for both college and pro, you haven't seen one of your teams lose since the second week of October. That's doing pretty well. And, the Penguins, I know everyone's kind of...
And the Dukes are in the playoffs.
Well, I think we're going to take a break here, and for our third segment, Angela, I'll let you decide what we want to talk about. I still want to talk a little bit more about Pitt football, so maybe we'll talk about that first, and then I'll let you handle the rest of the segment. But now a word from our sponsors.
Today's programming is brought to you by NCTV45 and NC Radio 450, Newcastle's community television station. This program furnished by Sporting Goods, 23 East Washington Street, Newcastle. Call 724-658-2535. These fine businesses provided funding for this program. Gatherings, Town and Country, and On Target.
And we're back for our third and final segment of the Cedars Sports Corner. Angelo, tell me, how would you feel, overall do you feel about this Pitt football team? Are they a top 20 team?
They're a top 20 team. Narduzzi keeps his job. They beat Clemson. They get a good bowl win. They beat Penn State.
Wouldn't that be something? Well, I mean, they beat Clemson, then they're going to, obviously, BCS Bowl. I don't know. If they lose, I think they're projected to go to the Sun Bowl or something. I mean, any bowl win would still be good for Narduzzi and the program.
I just want them to beat Penn State.
I just want them to renew the series, honestly. Yeah. West Virginia, I am actually looking forward to them playing again. Before I wasn't, but, West Virginia, they're, obviously a top college program. And I feel more confident about Pitt going up against top 10 teams under Narduzzi than really any other coach in recent history. So, because he just seems to find a way to beat those teams. But, like I said earlier, the fact that they got an ACC Coastal Championship is huge. I think does give Narduzzi, a decent amount of time. Next year, they might have a rebuilding year next year. I mean, they're losing their top 2 running backs. But Kenny Pickett looked strong, their quarterback, and he really hasn't done anything all year. And the thing I like most about this team is that they find a way to win. They keep having second half comebacks to win games. So, yeah, you could make the argument, they're starting out slow, that's a problem, but they're also making adjustments to win games, and that's huge. Also, they're 7-4. What a bizarre season it would be if Pitt would lose to Clemson, Or, you know what? They still got to play Miami. Look, we're overlooking Miami. I'm overlooking Miami. They have to play Miami, then Clemson. So wouldn't it be something if Pitt loses to Miami, Clemson, and then their bowl game? Then they go 7-7. What a bizarre season that would be.
They win. They win. I have confidence in them. Pitt basketball.
Pitt basketball, undefeated. Like I said last segment, they had a great win in Brooklyn against St. Louis, and St. Louis is predicted by most sports writers to win their division. Pitt basketball has some good recruits coming in. I am very optimistic about Pitt basketball, and like I said last segment too, Duquesne basketball. I like Jeff Capel. In general, I'm really happy about the trajectory of the way Pitt sports is going right now, and I believe it's going up.
Notre Dame.
I've been saying all year, I hope they win. I hope they win the championship.
Can Alabama beat Auburn?
Yeah, of course they can.
Can they beat Georgia?
I think they probably will, because you've got, that's just a program and a head coach that's just experienced. I'm not saying they can't. I'm not saying Notre Dame or whoever can't beat Alabama. I'm just saying it's, it puts it in your mind that it's
There's
Alabama.
no prediction with you, is there? You just can't predict.
I'm predicting Alabama's going to win. I don't want them to win. I'm predicting Notre Dame will win against USC. All right? And then however the Final Four plays out, my prediction, Alabama will win the whole Final Four. I don't want them to.
Alabama loses to Auburn or Georgia or both, and they get taken out of the top four.
I would love that. I would love that. I'm
You know.
so anti-Alabama. Just in the South, I want to see
Dukes-
something different.
The Dukes get to the second series in the football playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think they do.
I don't know. Again, you know more about
I
that
think
than me.
they do because strength of schedule.
All right, here, prediction. I'll go make some predictions. Predictions, Steelers will get a bye in the first week of the playoffs. By prediction, I think they're going to win the AFC. And I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I don't know who they're playing.
Steelers.
I'm going with the Steelers. I really am, because it's now or never, man. You never know. Ben's going to get hurt again, right? Things are just going
It's time
their way.
to put up your Dukes.
Exactly. Pitt football, my prediction, they should at least get one more win. I think, you know what I'm going to say here? I think they beat Miami. I have a feeling they'll lose to Clemson. And I think they'll win their bowl game. So they'll get like 9 wins. So 9-4. Pitt basketball, I predict, I'm going to say it now. I predict they'll get 20 wins. I think they're going to sneak into the NCAA tournament as a bubble team.
They lose to the Dukes. 64-52.
I think they beat the Dukes.
Okay.
So again, I'm not going to be disappointed if they don't.
Till next time.
But I hope all of you have a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy your turkey. And I can't help but wonder, now with this lettuce recall, what are the vegans going to eat on Thanksgiving? Like, what do they eat now? Not lettuce. Anyway, happy holidays, everyone.
A special thanks to the YMCA for caring about the Lawrence County community and providing funding for this program.